Hey there, guys, and welcome back to The Rambling Producer, the podcast where I talk your ear off about the industry.
Let me pick your brain about mid-range. Cutting out frequencies, it's the music game.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about business plans for artists. Now, if you're a business, you need a business plan too, obviously, but in this case, I'm talking specifically for music artists that are wanting to get into the industry. You should be doing all of this before you record your first song, but I know if you're listening to this, there's a good chance that you've already recorded some music, and that's okay. But you should adopt this now. Take the time to listen to this podcast, answer all of these questions, and use this as a basis for the next year of your music. Basically everything. Everything you do should be based off of this. They're going to be kind of broad questions. I mean, I say they're going to be broad questions, but they will be specific to certain things. You'll see what I mean as we go through them. But basically, I'm just going to go through these sets of questions and what you need to answer and my thoughts on them and suggestions for things for you to do, basically. So, you need to start off by defining who you are as an artist. This is a big one. Who are you? What's your brand? What are you all about? You know, maybe you're just a songwriter. Maybe you are just a performer. Maybe you're both. Some people are singer-songwriters. Some people aren't. Some people hire somebody else to do their lyrics. You know, do you record your music or do you just play gigs? Or are you just a mixture of these different things? You know, maybe you record, you write your own songs, you do everything. What are you? Who are you as an artist? Are you a band? Are you a solo artist? You know, what's your name? What's the meaning behind the name? You know, who are you? What is your brand? This is like the hardest question that people have to answer. I'm going to give you my example. I'm just going to use my artist name. My artist name is Emmy. That is literally the initials M-E. It also looks like it says me. Well, it goes by Emmy because Emmy is an award-winning, like Grammy, Emmy. You know, it's a type of award. It's supposed to be at the top. Well, you're at the top of the world. I want my music to reach as many people as possible. So in order to do that, I need to climb to the top eventually. And that's what I'm about. I want you to reach as many people as possible because I want the chance to help them with my music. That is what I'm about, and that is my raw definition of success. I also have the brand set up as an Emmy because not only is it in my initials, not only does it pronounce itself as Emmy, but also it makes the me symbol. That is my brand because me over the heart. I want everybody to be their own unique self. Own yourself, and the me symbol over your heart is my way of representing everybody being themselves. I trust in myself to be myself. I don't care what other people think about me, aside from the fact that I hope my fans like me. But if they don't like me as a person, then don't listen to my music. I'm going to be myself, and if you connect with that and you get that, then cool. That's my definition of my brand and my success, and I want to support everybody else to be themselves. That's who I am as an artist. So if you can define yourself something like that, if you can define yourself of who you are, maybe your goal is just to make a lot of money, and your whole career is going to be built around that. This is the base question to start your career. That is the first question you need to answer for yourself before moving on to the next thing. The next thing is going to be a list of things you really love doing. Now, you don't have to be good at these things. It's the things that you love to do. Most of these should be music related, but not all of them have to be. Just think about things that basically relate to you as a person too, that you think you can also capitalize on. And this isn't necessarily 100% going to be the things that you're going to use to make money. These are just things you enjoy doing because obviously if you're really bad at doing something, still put it on the list if you enjoy doing it. You can always work on yourself on that. You can always get better at doing something. This is something where maybe you really look forward to writing. Maybe you really look forward to practicing a specific instrument. Maybe you really love being on stage. Maybe you don't. Maybe you love interacting with your fans. And if you do love interacting with your fans, is it in person or just like social media? Because if you just love being on social media, that's another thing you enjoy doing. Maybe you enjoy creating videos. Make a list of the things you'll love to do, and then make a separate list of things that you're really good at. Whether you like doing them or you don't like doing them, make a list of things that you're really, really good at and that you've gotten compliments that you're good at. Like, again, songwriting. Maybe you don't like writing, but maybe you're really, really good at it. Maybe you don't like, talking a whole lot, but you've gotten really good at filling the gaps of silence between songs on a set or something like that. Or something similar. Like, people who do speeches would probably be pretty good at this. So, maybe you're good at these different things, or maybe you're good at, like, guitar solos and stuff. It could be anything. Things you're good at. Maybe it's the same things that you enjoy. That'd be great. Lines up really super well. You can put the same things in that list on here if you're also really, really good at them. Just make that. And then you're going to make a separate section here where you're going to talk about your revenue streams. What are the revenue streams that are going to be related to those skills? Now, if you really love, like, martial arts, and you're like, well, how in the heck am I going to tie that into music? Well, that's easy. You make YouTube videos, and you make music videos and things that you release out into the world. Tie your martial arts into that. Make, martial arts a part of your music videos. You can do cool stuff like that. You can tie basically any skill back into your music, and actually would create a very unique profile for yourself that fits you. No one else, just you. You need to define you. You don't want to be like somebody else, because being like somebody else is going to make you seem like you're copying and that you're just trying to push for the next dollar by following this other person and everything they did. You don't want to do that. You want to pave your own path. That'll make you a happier artist. I can't talk today, apparently. That'll make you a happier artist. That'll make you a better artist. Make you a more unique artist and a more marketable artist. Because if you're not marketable, how are you going to reach your audiences, right? You're going to make it marketable by basically just being yourself. And by being yourself, you're unique. Nobody's the same. Maybe you enjoy the same things as somebody else. Maybe they do enjoy the same things as you. But you're always going to do it in your own unique way. And that's what's important. So write down the things that you think you can draw revenue from. YouTube videos, Spotify, Apple Music, just straight song sales, merchandise, etc. Relate them back to your skills. Maybe you have a skill of graphic design. Okay, cool. You're really good at graphic design. Merchandise. Logo design. Everything. Put that in there. Now, that's the broad category, honestly. Now we're going to get a little more concise. We're going to get a little bit closer. We're going to start setting some goals. So we're going to go ahead and write down some goals that we want to achieve this year. Maybe you want to book more gigs. Maybe you want to practice more. Maybe you want to get your music licensed. List those things off, but don't be that vague. So if you're going to say you want to practice more, say I want to practice an hour every single day. Okay, cool. I want to book 4 gigs per month. That's more specific. Perfect. I want to get my music licensed to this specific place or in this specific way. I want to get my music licensed on or published on TV on this specific network. Or maybe it's not a specific network. At least be like TV or film or movies or games and apps. Or give it like a very specific, a little bit closer, a little bit tighter goal. And then make a plan. Just a couple steps that you can complete each step in about a day or up to a week. Something where you can do this regularly to reach those goals. So if you want to book 4 gigs every month, then, well, you're going to have to take steps to do that. You're going to have to reach out to different venues, the venues you want to play in. You're going to have to probably set a schedule to do that. Maybe every Wednesday or every Saturday, you're going to message a bunch of them hoping for responses. And, when you get responses, you're going to reply and try to book those gigs and set up dates. Whatever you're going to do to get those goals completed, think of ways that you think will be a good ways to do it. And if you're not sure how to do it, there's this magical thing called Google. How do I get gigs? Well, contact venues. That's going to be an easy one. But maybe, how to get my music license won't be super clear. And there's so many free resources out there on Google. There's no reason that you wouldn't be able to find some at least vague thing of telling you kind of how to do it. And besides that, you're pretty much this is thinking of that you're going to try to figure this out on your own, but you need to also do your research on everything that you want to do. You need to do research, figure out how to do it. But this is going to help you stay on the right path doing it. What method did I use to try to get there? Did it work? No. Okay, well then change it. And then, did it work that time? Yes. Okay, cool. Keep that, etc. That'll help you improve. Now we're going to move on to talking about gigging. So you decide whether or not you want to do gigs. I know I talked about gigs before, but maybe you don't even want to do gigs. Maybe you just want to stay at home. Or maybe you want to do gigs and it's only live streaming. That's okay. Write that down. What's your approach to gigging? Do you want to gig or not? Maybe you only want to do live streaming. Where do you want to gig? Do you want to gig at clubs, bars, venues, like wineries and stuff that hold concerts? Maybe you only want to go to big gigs. Well, good luck with that, but that could be something that you're doing. Or maybe that's a goal of yours instead. This is a goal. If you want to strictly play big gigs and no little gigs, maybe you have to start with little gigs, but once you get to that point, maybe you can cut all those out. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you strictly want to do house concerts. You never want to play big gigs. Maybe it's just college gigs. You never know. Each person has their own thing that they enjoy doing and that they want to do. There are plenty of people who just play house concerts and they make a great living off of that. They go to people's couches, sleep overnight sometimes, even get fed sometimes from them, and play for personal parties or for just the family, and they make a living off of that. And it's really cool. And they get free room and board a lot of times too, which is even cooler. And so yeah, then write down the steps. How are you going to get there? How are you going to do that? Like I said, are you going to contact places a bunch? Are you going to try to find websites that you can sign up to that will help you get gigs? How are you going to do that? And then how are you going to promote those gigs? For house concerts, you probably don't need to promote them as much because they're kind of already paying you to come in. Weddings, you need to figure out how you're going to promote that. How are you going to get them to go there? And that could be like getting yourself listed with an ad on people who plan weddings. Maybe you can get a deal with someone who plans weddings and you can be some entertainment people that they refer to sometimes. A bunch of different things posted up on wedding photography sites, etc. Or if it is house concerts, you can also think about, how am I going to book those house concerts? And then promoting regular gigs. Maybe you're making flyers for local gigs. Maybe you're doing social media marketing, making ads that way. You're going to have to go through that process. And then how do you feel about recording? Some artists don't record at all. They strictly play live gigs. Some strictly just do raw takes, and that's all the music they release other than live gigging. There's also things on the flip side. And there's a mixture. So on the flip side, you have people that strictly record. They strictly get their money from streaming and strictly sell digital content, and they never gig. Maybe they aren't able to gig. I'm sure there's so many artists out there that I'm sure there's artists out there that just literally aren't able to gig too. Maybe they would love to. And then there's also times where, they just don't want to. They don't enjoy being on stage. They don't want to do that. And they don't even want to live stream something. Maybe that's all you want to do is just live stream your concerts. That's totally cool and actually on the rise today. And but maybe you strictly want to do streaming, and that's okay too. But you need to define that now. And when it comes to the recording, do you want to record professionally? Do you want to record in just your home studio and that's it? Or someone else's home studio? And how are you going to get the money to do that? Or are you going to record even? And if you're going to get the money, are you going to crowdfund? Are you going to just pay for it with your day job for now? Or maybe all that money you were getting gigging before, if you are gigging, is funding right into recording. That's perfectly fine too. You need to figure out how you're going to achieve those goals. You need to set goals and say, yeah, I'm going to record. I want to record this many songs. Try to set a schedule. So if you're going to record songs, maybe you're going to do one a month, one every other month, or you're going to do something like that. A lot of times people don't have something set like that. Well, if you're not going to have a set schedule with it, Sometimes you can get away with that, but you still need to be posting things regularly. Don't leave your fans with a "what's going on? Where is he?" kind of vibe for months. You know, at least give them updates throughout, like, hey, I'm working on this project. It's been a couple months. I know there's nothing down, but you know what? There's going to be an EP probably soon. No release date yet, etc. Something like that. And then, lastly, let's talk about publishing. What is your approach on publishing going to be? Do you want to get published? Maybe you never want to get published, and that's perfectly fine too. Publishing is where you're going to get placed in a film, TV, etc. Maybe you're songwriting, making jingles for, X company, whatever. Maybe they're just taking snippets of your songs and doing it. Do you want something like that? Or maybe you just want to get your music in other people's YouTube videos. Like, oh yeah, man, use my music for that. That'd be cool. Maybe you're just micro-syncing. If you don't know what that is, Google it. That was a little bit harder to explain all at once. But, there's so many different options for you. Figure out what options you want to go down. And once you figure out those, how are you going to do that? How are you going to get your song licensed for that? How are you going to get it published? How are you going to get all these things? How are you going to pitch it? Maybe you're just going to approach companies and pitch it, but how are you going to do that? What's your pitch? Do your research. Be familiar with the shows that they work on. Know what kind of music they're looking for, and be persistent. And you need to keep in mind that lyrics can interfere with dialogue, so sometimes they're going to want an instrumental. And honestly, if you want to be super professional, send them an instrumental and one recorded with your lyrics. And basically then they'll have the option to pull and push the lyrics out whenever they want. Their producers can always edit it that way. And that's a good way to get your stuff licensed. You just approach the companies, get a good pitch on, and do that. But you need to have a plan according to do that. The other thing I want to say that is not included in this in the music plan that I like to go over, which, by the way, I follow the New Artist Model. I love the New Artist Model. They write really good stuff. They don't give you like everything, like this is exactly how you do it, because you need to define your own path, and you need to take your own path, and that's what they're all about. Defining your own path and taking that path and pushing yourself, which is great. But the thing that they don't talk about in this that I think they used to, because I did a different thing and I had to define this, but when you're looking at social media, you can do all of the social medias, but it's going to be very hard for you. So if you find yourself overwhelmed, try to limit yourself to 1 or 2 social media accounts. I'd say the most I'd start with is 3 if you're having trouble with it, and that's assuming you can tie them in together. For me, I use Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube mainly. Don't have a whole lot of stuff on YouTube out yet because I just recently added that. I started with just Facebook, then I added Instagram. I linked them, so now everything I post on Instagram goes to Facebook. Makes it a lot easier for me. But sometimes I do exclusive posts on my Facebook page too. YouTube, I strictly do for releasing music, and I usually do that only if it's either a music video or after I've released it and it's been about like a week, anywhere from a week and a month, and then I'll release it on YouTube. That way there's a time lag, so I can encourage people going to things like Spotify and things for my music. But that's part of my plan. That's part of the things that I want to do. And that allows me to continue growing, which is great. And that's what this whole plan is all about, to help you continue growing. And that's what I want to help you do. Help you continue growing. I want you guys to be able to take the information I have here, and this is all the same stuff I use in my artist development program. I use all the same stuff. I just get a little more intricate with it, a little more hands-on with it, and I really push my artists, and they have someone to hold them accountable. In this case, the only person holding you accountable, unless you have a friend that's listening to this with you, is going to be yourself. You need to do this. I know you're probably not going to enjoy filling out what looks like homework, basically, but if you do it, I promise you it's going to make you a better artist. No matter what kind of artist you are. This is going to help you. Now, obviously, this is geared toward musicians when I say any kind of artist, but you could restructure this and it's still kind of the same for other artists. You still need to define who you are as a brand and the way you're going to make money, basically. This whole other plan is just kind of geared towards this specific thing. So once you have this all structured, then I'd say start following it and start recording and start, gigging, start doing everything that you put in this plan, whatever that you want to do in this, and then move on to figuring out, alright, well, I said I was going to promote this way, so let's promote that way, and figuring out the intricate details of that, and then starting to do that. But this is a great starting point for you, and it's the starting point that every artist needs to start with, and I suggest that you start with it too. I make all my artists do it when they start my artist development plan. This is the first thing we do before I even let them record the first song with me, which, by the way, they get a year of song recording with me free of charge. My artist development plan does cost something to get into, but it's mostly just paying for the cost of the first 5 songs, and we're likely to do at least like 20 songs that year, so it's a really, really good deal for them. And basically, with this, I make every artist do this, and then we start recording, and we keep in the confines of their definition of success, and I'm teaching them how to do every aspect on their own, so that when the contract ends, they can do it on their own. They can stay indie artists if they want. Now, that being said, labels do help. They're going to do a lot of stuff for you, sure. They have more money than you, probably. Maybe. If you have more money than them, then I commend you for that. That's really awesome. But they probably have more money than you to invest. And that's a good resource on its own, and they probably have some resources that you might not have. But labels are not necessary. You don't ever have to sign with a label, especially in today's day and age. You can make lots of money and make a living. Full-time artistry is a thing even outside of record labels, and don't let them make you think you have to ever sign to do anything. You only sign if it's beneficial to you, and it's always going to be beneficial to them. There's no contract that I've ever ran into from a record label that isn't beneficial, mostly in the label's favor. But yeah, so just make this plan, follow it, and I promise you it'll make you a better artist. It'll make your career a hell of a lot easier. Hey there, guys. We're taking a short break here just to tell you a little bit about our sponsor for this episode. Our sponsor is actually Anchor, the people who host our podcast. We really love their service. The best part about their service is that it's free. They give you the creation tools and everything to edit your podcast right from your phone or right on the computer from their website, so you don't need anything else outside of that. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from it. You can get sponsorships to do that. It's just really just everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And let's say you want to edit some things. That's cool too. You can do that in your own editing software and just upload your file just as its own file. You can add your own background music. You can do everything. Make sure to try out Anchor by downloading the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Peace. Alright, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Peace out.
Let me get your brain without mid-brain. Cutting out frequencies, it's the